Ok, bonsoir à tous and salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Merci. I'm going to try to speak in English because my friend c'est terrible. And my native language is Spanish, but I think no one here speaks Spanish.
Yeah, yes.
How many people here understand Spanish?
Spanish?
Okay, well, okay. Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna try to speak in English. Okay, but if something is going wrong, I will do it in Spanish, and you have to forgive me. Okay. A few weeks ago, I was interviewed for a British media Muslim, and I was asked the following question: why in the hell, being you straight, are you an activist for LGBT? You know that can reduce your possibilities to get married? And I say, absolutely yes. I know that maybe I will never marry. But there is a more important challenge we have to face there in South America. And the thing is that for me, like an activist and like a feminist, and being also a Muslim, I'm very aware of my duty in the pursuit of social justice. And I think that must be the duty of every Muslim. It must be the duty of every person, but especially Muslims are encouraged to do it. So for me, it's not important, where you are coming from. It's important where we are going to. Especially in my land. I was born in Chile and I live now in Argentina. For work, I lived in Ecuador and in Peru. Always I worked with excluded people, native, women, minorities of different kinds. And I understand something that maybe is not the truth, but it's a truth for me. I live in a land that was founded under violence and patriarchy. That's sadly. So that produced two things. That produced that beyond all the problems we have, we live in a daily basis with violence and discrimination. While I'm talking with you here, right now, a woman is dying in Argentina in her house for gender violence, and 13 women are dying in Nicaragua for the same reason. Per day. So, when we, like an activist, when we and other activists try to approach to the issue of violence and discrimination, we have two ways to do it. We can do it from our own shell, like we are feminists, or so we struggle for women's rights, or we can do it from the side of we are humans that have to face discrimination and violence on a daily basis. And we are part of a minority that has problems to get included in a broader society that is a patriarchal society. So, in this sense, when we see the approach of human rights, if you are straight or not, it's not important when it's about your own rights, when it's about to have agency on your own body, when it's about to have the possibility to speak up and raise your voice for the things that you are committed to. The situation in Argentina and in Chile, I'm a journalist, so I used to travel a lot between both countries. And I am a specialist in news and articles on LGBT and women's rights. So I can see the situation both in Argentina is different than in Chile. Because in Argentina, people used to be more tolerant. It's more inclusive about LGBT rights. Even there are this year, we have a law on gender identity, and also it was one of the first countries in Latin America to approve the marriage, equal marriage for everyone. The different situation is in Chile, where in the last year we have 3 hate crimes against LGBT people. The most famous was Daniel Zamudio. You know about him. He was tortured for 6 hours in a public square in front of everyone in the neighborhood, and no one did nothing. Because he was gay and it was not their problem. Daniel Zamudio was attacked for 3 persons that claimed to be neo-Nazis. And these people engraved swastikas in their body. They broke all the ribs and all the joints. And after, he was sent to the hospital where he agonized for 23 days. And after, he died. After that, the parliament approved a law on discrimination. But few weeks after that, another hate crime appeared in a little city against a lesbian woman, Valeska, 16 years old. Their neighborhood attacked her and tried to burn her because she's a lesbian. And again, no one did anything because it was not their problem, because she was a lesbian. So when I get aware of this, and lately, 2 weeks ago, another activist for LGBT rights received a beaten in the street for unknown people, and again, no one did nothing. So the problem in Latin America is that we live in a macho culture, that everything must be put in service of this privilege that create violence and discrimination, but still, the most serious problem is that people do nothing. Everyone live like looking their navel, and no one do nothing. So, for me, like an activist and being a feminist, Muslim, and sometimes an hijabi, I've been exposed from the National Congress of Argentina to be in a feminist meeting with hijab, so I hope this is not the situation. When I was in the Congress of the Nation, in a feminist meeting with activists talking about women's rights and equity of LGBT, a woman that identified herself like a feminist, very strong and very wise, say, stop, we cannot continue the conversation if there is a woman here using a veil. So I will ask her to go out and let us work. Of course, I didn't go out because I have a very bad temper. And I said, why you want me to go out? And she said something that I heard here during the journey, because you are homophobic and you promote a culture of violence. And I say, what you did to me right now is very violent. But I'm not going to move because I have something to say. And what I have to say in that occasion is the same what I want to share with you right here, right now. First, I'm not homophobic. but I think that's not important. I mean, beyond the labels, I think we have a challenge, like activists and like people that are involved with human rights in general. And the first thing, I think, is understand that we must work horizontally. I mean, if I say in my shell like I work only for Muslim feminists, I will arrive not so far. I've got more achievement when I start to work like people from different backgrounds. Because in Latin America we are diverse, so I cannot close my eyes and say, no, I work just for Muslims. Because those Muslims have to live in a diversity society, have to live in a society where they are exposed to discrimination for different kind of reasons. So the first thing for me is recognize and value our diversity and work horizontally. The second, and this is very important for me, especially being a woman and Muslim and feminist, is to get rid of the idea of minority. I feel treated like a minority in my own country because I have a headscarf. I am said I am a minority because I'm a woman, and even when I am the part of the 50% of the population, I don't have the power of decision. You know, the power, the guy with the gun have the power. Even when he is one and the other, we can be southern. But we must get rid of the concept of minority. Because really, that label is a label that are put on us for other people. We're not minority. No one is a minority if they are empowered. I discovered that I'm not a minority in that occasion when I was asked to walk. Yeah. I'm not a minority if I keep my right to speak for myself. So it's a category I think we have to get rid of. And the other factor that I think is very useful for activism in Latin America is recognize our multiple dimensions and identify the different interaction of race, ethnic background, immigration situation, and the complex of the configuration of a human. Because, okay, I'm finished. Okay. Because,
she's talking about her right to
really,
speak,
can I finish? Really?
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Because people tend to see us like a minority and like unidimensional. For example, it's very common that people in Argentina and in Chile, they see LGBT people like just LGBT people thinking every time and every day in sex. So they cannot be doctors, they cannot be writers, they cannot be politicians. No, they're just LGBT. Like me, I am like just almost a woman in bed. I cannot be an activist, I cannot be a journalist. No, I'm a woman just in bed. And that's like to be plain and flat. And that's not like this. And there are multiple factors that intervene in the discrimination and in the solution. So I think if we mix these three elements I mentioned, it's possible to get enough empowerment to create synergy. And that synergy together, put together, can feed our struggle towards equity. Because this is a very basic phrase, but I love it. Because the personal is political. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Now we come nearest to French, Spanish.
Fantastic.
Talk about transgender and lesbian women, Spanish transgender and lesbian women. The speech will be in French, so we change the rules. Who know French, please can translate for those who don't speak French. I don't speak English, so. But
Just ask the whole place audience, just stop making noise, because I really cannot hear anything sometimes. I really ask people to stop moving, whatever they're moving all the time.
En termes clairs, arrêtez de faire du bruit.
Très bien. Très bien parlé.
Ouais, j'ai compris l'intonation.
En anglais?
En français.
Vous parlez en français? Oui, oui.
Ou alors faites du bruit, mais en silence, s'il vous plaît. Bon.
Parce qu'il y a D'accord. Bonsoir. Je vais essayer de parler en français. Et même si Abdenour, qui va parler après, elle rigole toujours à moi, elle dit que je parle français comme les vaches espagnoles. Mais je vais essayer. Et, on m'a dit qu'il y a 7 minutes seulement pour parler, donc bon, je vais lire un peu, comme ça je crois qu'il va être plus facile. Bon, je commence cette exposition en invoquant le nom d'Allah et en sollicitant sa permission pour parler d'un thème délicat et qu'il reste tabou pour la plus grande partie des communautés musulmanes. Chaque fois, avec plus de force, des femmes musulmanes d'origine diverses s'impliquent dans le développement de leur micro-communauté. C'est ainsi qu'on constate la présence des genres féminins dans les espaces publics et on constate aussi qu'elles sont les promotrices de leurs propres mouvements sociaux, culturels et religieux. De cette manière, est né un groupe de femmes musulmanes de différents points de l'Espagne qui s'est uni pour développer une idée partagée. le besoin de récupérer et de promouvoir les rôles que l'islam attribue aux femmes et en arrache les principes fondamentaux de l'équilibre que les écritures sacrées et Allah reconnaissent. J'ai coupé beaucoup de choses. La conséquence la plus immédiate de ce travail a entraîné la constitution de l'Union des femmes musulmanes en Espagne, une association non islamique créée en 2008. Pendant tout ce temps, nous avons travaillé énormément pour donner protagonisme aux femmes musulmanes